Everyone thinks the Cold War was fought between superpowers. They're wrong. Sometimes the real war was fought against a man in a suit, in a place the West couldn't afford to lose. June 30th, 1960. Congo's independence ceremony. I've read the photographs from that day, the Belgian colonial governor, Wilfried Janssens, sitting stone-faced while Patrice Lumumba, a 35-year-old printer-turned-politician, delivered a speech that made every Western diplomat in the room grip their armrest. He didn't read from prepared remarks. He spoke about the wounds that are still bleeding, the scars of 80 years of brutal extraction. Of forced labor, of a nation hollowed out and handed over with a smile. That speech wasn't just words. It was a declaration that the new Congo wouldn't play by the old rules. What nobody in that room understood yet, and I mean nobody, was that Lumumba's defiance had just set a timer. The United States watched that speech with the same dread a homeowner feels watching a crack spread across their foundation. Here was a charismatic, intelligent African leader, freshly independent, and he wasn't playing Cold War chess. He was playing for Congo. That distinction would cost him everything. July 1960, just one day after independence. The Force Publique, the colonial-era military, mutinied. They weren't rebelling against Lumumba exactly, they were rebelling against a system that still treated them like subjects. But the chaos that followed gave Western powers exactly what they needed, justification. Belgium sent paratroopers back in, the UN arrived, and in Washington, the CIA station chief in Leopoldville filed a cable that would echo through the next 6 months. Lumumba was a communist threat. Whether he actually was didn't matter anymore. The narrative was set. August, Lumumba was prime minister of a nation falling apart. The Katanga province, the mineral-rich heart of Congo, seceded under a Belgian-backed strongman named Moise Tsham. The UN wouldn't intervene. The US was already moving against him. And Lumumba, desperate, did something that sealed his fate. He asked the Soviet Union for military aid, not because he was a communist, because he had nowhere else to turn. But perception in 1960 was sharper than truth. September 5th, President Joseph Kasavubu, Lumumba's own ally, dismissed him. It was a coup dressed up in constitutional language. Lumumba refused to leave office. He went on the radio and appealed to the people. For a moment, it looked like he might survive through sheer force of will. I've read the cables from that week. The US embassy was panicking. A fallen PM could still be dangerous. A dead one couldn't. But Lumumba wasn't finished yet. He escaped, fled Leopoldville in a car, heading east towards Stanleyville, where he still had supporters. For weeks he was a ghost, a former prime minister moving through a country that was fracturing by the hour. He was trying to reach a province loyal to him, trying to rebuild. What he didn't know, what nobody outside a very small circle knew, was that his capture had already been decided. December 1st, 1960. Lumumba was arrested by troops loyal to Colonel Joseph Mobutu, the same Mobutu who'd orchestrated the September coup. He was taken to Thysville, a military barracks south of Leopoldville. The cell was concrete. The guards were Katangan soldiers. And somewhere in Brussels, in Washington, in the offices of foreign ministries, the decision was being made. He had to disappear. January 17th, 1961. Early morning. Lumumba and 2 other political prisoners, Maurice Mpolo and Jean Okido, were transferred from Thysville to Katanga province to Elizabethville in the custody of Katangan authorities. It was a death sentence wrapped in a prisoner transfer. The Belgians knew it, the Americans knew it, the UN knew it, and Lumumba, sitting in that vehicle, still believed he might have a chance at trial, at survival. That same day, late afternoon, Lumumba, Mpolo, and Okido were executed by firing squad. The details are thin, deliberate that way, but the outcome was final. A 35-year-old man who dared to speak truth to power, who'd refused to be a puppet, was gone. The Belgians claimed they weren't involved. The Americans said they were shocked. The UN expressed regret. None of it was true. They'd all watched the pieces move into place. The official story was that Katangan authorities acted alone. Moise Tsham, the secessionist strongman, took responsibility. But I've read the declassified cables. The CIA had been planning his removal for months. Belgian officers were in Katanga. A Belgian mercenary named Weber was there that day. The execution wasn't a spontaneous act, it was choreography, with multiple hands on the strings. What happened after tells you everything about why this mattered. Mobutu consolidated power. Congo became Zaire. The mineral wealth flowed west. The US had its stable, authoritarian ally on the continent. And the Soviet Union gained a martyr. Lumumba became a symbol of anti-colonial resistance that outlived his body by decades. The Cold War had its victory. Congo paid the price. The conspiracy itself wasn't hidden from history, it was hidden in plain sight. Belgian Prime Minister Adula knew, the US State Department knew, the Eisenhower administration knew. What they didn't expect was that Lumumba's death would haunt them. Decades later, Belgium issued an apology. The US declassified documents. None of it changed the fact that a nation lost its visionary because the West couldn't tolerate a leader who wouldn't play along. Here's what stays with me. Lumumba wasn't a communist, he was a nationalist. He wanted Congo to be for Congolese. That threat not to security but to geopolitical control was what killed him. And the systems that killed him didn't disappear after 1961. They evolved, they're still operating. Every time a leader in a resource-rich nation gets removed, every time a coup is dressed up as stability, the ghost of Patrice Lumumba is there. The evidence of Western involvement, CIA cables, Belgian military records, testimonies from people in the room is overwhelming. Yet it took decades for the full picture to emerge. And even now, some details remain classified. That gap between what happened and what was known is the real story. It's the space where power operates without accountability. It's where assassinations become history before anyone calls them what they are. Lumumba's body was never found. The Belgians claim they dissolved it in acid. Whether that's true or whether it's another layer of the cover-up doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that a nation's first democratically chosen leader was removed by foreign powers because he refused to be controlled. Congo never recovered from that loss. Decades of dictatorship followed. The minerals kept flowing out. The people kept suffering. The Cold War narrative was that this was about stopping communism, but that was the story sold to the public. The real story was about control, who gets to decide what happens in resource-rich nations, who profits from extraction, who has a voice. Lumumba lost because he spoke up, and the system that silenced him has never stopped operating. It just learned to be quieter about it. When you look at the timeline, June to January, you're watching power consolidate in real time. Every move was calculated. Every player knew what was happening. The tragedy isn't that it was a surprise. The tragedy is that it was predictable. A man who spoke truth in a world built on lies doesn't survive long. Lumumba learned that lesson too late. Congo is still learning it. The files are still opening. Researchers are still digging. And every new document confirms what we already knew. The West didn't just watch Congo's independence fail. They engineered it. They chose their man Mobutu and they removed the obstacle. It's a playbook that's been run 100 times since, and it starts the same way, with a leader who won't cooperate and a decision made in quiet rooms that he has to go. Subscribe for a new political assassination and the declassified truths behind it, cases where the official story never tells you what actually happened.